So far, this USF2000 season has been a tag team affair featuring teammates at Cape Motorsports. Third-generation driver Matthew Brabham won the season's debut race. Since then, though, he's been overtaken by his teammate Spencer Pigot. Pigot is from Orlando, Florida. He's won 3 straight, but he's had no room to breathe easily. The pair have constantly filled each other's mirrors, seemingly never more than a car length apart. Pigot-Brabham monopoly continue for another round. The most unusual challenge of the season awaits the series drivers. They have a race with no right turns at all, and it's coming up next. The Mazda road to Indy may one day end here for some drivers in the USF2000 series presented by Cooper Tire. The Lucas Oil Raceway, though, just a few miles away, the first and only oval test of the 2012 season for the USF2000 drivers and cars. All left-hand turns, almost no one going to be comfortable when the green flag falls. Is this the only view that drivers will again have of Spencer Pigot? And we'll find out starting here in just a couple of moments. We're at Lucas Oil Raceway on the west side of Indianapolis for the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Cooper Tires presents the USF2000 National Championship powered by Mazda, part of the night before the 500. I'm Rick Benjamin. IndyCar star James Hinchcliffe is alongside. Todd Lewis will have our coverage tonight down on pit road. A hot, steamy May night before the 500. You've got a lot going on this weekend, James. Talk a little bit about oval track racing in these cars.
Well, yeah, this is the first and only, as you said, oval race for these guys in the 2000 championship, and it's a very exciting thing for them because, again, this is a big part of, as you move up the road to Indy ladder, it's part of Star Mazda, it's a bigger part of Indy Lights, and of course, it's a very big part of IndyCar racing. So this is a big test and a big challenge for these young drivers.
For a guy like Spencer Pigot, his teammate Matthew Brabham, the entire field of 21 cars and drivers tonight, to only run this one oval track race, I'm imagining a lot of thoughts got to go into this.
There is, and there's a lot of preparation and a lot of hard work that ultimately only goes into one event, and so some teams maybe don't put as much effort into it, but you know that a team like Cape Motorsports puts a lot of emphasis on this race because not only is it important for the championship, every race counts, but to this team, I should say, this race holds a little extra special just because it's the night before the 500.
Of course, everyone here with their eyes on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, these drivers want to be in that field at some point, and that's why Mazda and IndyCar and the Mazda Road to Indy program have put together a series of seminars for these young drivers to get their feet wet on ovals and also learn about the IndyCar series. Todd Lewis talked to several drivers about the program.
Well, the program that the Mazda Road to Indy put together is really cool. When we come onto the ovals every year, they put together a whole list of seminars, from different topics, from professional drivers like Bobby Rahal, who have won the 500, talking about, setup things mentally, and then you have Jim Leo from Pit Fit talking about physically what you need to do. So all different topics of racing at what you have to do on the oval, and it's a really cool experience to be able to listen to the guys who have been there and done it, and you want to listen to them a bit more than your dad telling you to do stuff.
Did you attend the Mazda Oval Summit prior to this, and what did you learn there?
Oh yeah, definitely. We were all there, so it was quite we had done a test previously to that, so I would have liked to have done the summit before I'd done the first test, but yeah, it was definitely it was definitely helpful, and there was quite a lot of experienced people there to talk to, so it was definitely a great help.
We came here last year, and it was my first race in this car and my first race in the series, and it was a lot to grasp. I mean, the ovals keep turning left, and you're using the same muscles every corner, and it wears you out. But this year we're quick and we're going for a win, and I think we can do it.
Is it kind of a rhythm that you need to get into?
Yeah, definitely. I think to be quick around here, it's not always about being the fastest lap, but being consistently quick. And there's a lot of guys who can do one quick lap, but can you do that consistently? That's what really makes the difference, and can you get through the traffic? And that's how you're going to win this race.
Take a look at your championship standings after 4 races, and we've had Spencer Pigot win 3 of the 4, but a very tight battle at the top of the table.
And that's got to be frustrating for Pigot, who's, as you said, has won 3/4 of the races so far, but maintains such a small lead over Matthew Brabham.
Roman Lagudi right there as well, about 30 points back as the field is lining up on the front straightaway, getting set to go here tonight. The USF2000 National Championship powered by Mazda. Moments ago, everybody pretty relaxed. The F2000 drivers going through introductions. Star Mazda drivers next to be introduced to the the crowd here at Lucas Oil Raceway. These F2000 machines, James Hinchcliffe, pretty cool race cars.
They really are, Rick. They're a great entry-level car. They're Van Diemen cars since 2001, and it's a great transition from go-karts up into formula cars.
Of course, the engines, the Mazda MZR makes about 170 horsepower. That's a lot of engine for a light race car.
It's a great power-to-weight ratio, certainly way more than these drivers have ever had to deal with in their careers.
And Elite Engine, Steve Knapp's team, they seal the motors after preparing them. You can't do anything to these engines. They're plug and play. Meantime, drivers getting settled into their seats, getting set to do battle on their only oval of the season. Now, this is bigger than a 5/8, not quite a 3/4 like Richmond, but a very challenging racetrack, of course, an oval track.
Absolutely, and what's cool about this racetrack is you have to run the high line. It really tests the driver's bravery here.
Todd Lewis earlier catching up with one of the engineers who works on these cars.
Let's talk about some of the changes to make these cars turn only left instead of left and right.
Yeah, well, as you know, ovals are pretty unique compared to road courses. So, typically for the road courses where you'd go with a fairly symmetrical setup, front to rear and left to right, on an oval, it's a totally different ball of wax. The cornering forces are all going to the outside of the car, to the right-hand side. So really, it's all about trying to make the car turn left. We'll do that with a combination of things: springs, ride height, and tilt. We'll tune the aero. Cambers are a big thing. So there's a lot of tools that we have as engineers to compensate for the ovals.
So much so that if you push these cars in a straight line, they would actually drift to the left a little bit, wouldn't they?
They are set up to essentially turn left on their own in a lot of ways. Part of that is depends on the driver, but definitely, if you push it in a straight line, it's going to want to turn left pretty good.
And the other important thing for the drivers is comfort. You see that Roman Laguti's already got the built-in manufactured headrest, but again, that's because of the force pushing his head to the right in the car.
Absolutely. Without a pad on the side of the head surround, the poor kids would not be able to hold up their necks after 10-15 laps. So, on an oval, you have to run the pad there and almost kind of tilt their head a little bit to the left so that once they get going at speed, their head's nice and straight.
Thank you.
All right, so the thoughts of one of the engineers from Bilardi, Joe D'Agostino, one of the guys who takes care of a lot of the front-running cars in the USF2000 National Championship. Back to put them under green in a moment. Drivers putting helmets on, getting set to strap in, getting set to do battle tonight here at Lucas Oil Raceway. A lot of thought goes into this, right, James?
Certainly, this is a very tense moment for the drivers, very stressful. This is when it's all coming down to all the work you've done comes down to this moment right here.
Only oval race of the season, quite a challenge for these young drivers strapping into the USF2000 machines.
And one of the perks of qualifying in pole position for Matthew Brabham is he gets to pick his side of the racetrack that he wants to start from. And here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, probably the only track you do it, he wants to start on the outside of turn 1 because the preferred driver's line is that high line around the outside.
Indication being given to the field. Go ahead and fire the motors, and we'll see what happens. Brabham in the white car will lead him to green from the outside of row number 1, but as James just referenced, he was the fast qualifier. Spencer Pigot, winning 3 in a row on a road course, qualifies on the front row. I think the interesting storyline here tonight, James, is going to be who adapts best to the challenge of a place like Lucas Oil Raceway.
And certainly Spencer's got a little bit more experience on the ovals over Brabham, so it'll be interesting to see if he can capitalize on that experience.
Matthew Brabham in his first season in the series. Spencer Pigot's been down this road before, and it shows the way he's been so strong these last couple of events.
3 out of 4, tough to argue with that.
Brabham will start first, Pigot second. Brabham selects the outside. Normally on an oval, you'd think the bottom of the racetrack, the inside, would be where the pole starter would go, but you do get your choice. Roman Laguti from Bilardi qualifies third. Trent Hindman in the 3 car will line up in the 4th position. Neil Alberico and Heeman Choi making his first start of the season. They'll be in row number 3 here tonight. Choi in car number 21. Luca Bourgeois, one of the other Bilardi teammates, and Matthew DeLeo in the 56 will start 8th. Bourgeois, guy's been pretty strong as well.
Certainly, he's improving a lot more confidence out of that young man.
Michael Johnson in row 5, Scott Anderson alongside of the 14 car. He'll qualify and start in the 10th spot. Colin Thompson, Timmy Megenbauer, a young man who's been through several different development series. He starts 12th here tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway. Jason Wolf and one of our senior competitors, J.R. Smart, with the 6 car. He'll start from the 14th position. Back in the 8th row, a couple of your Andretti Autosport mates.
Certainly not the strongest qualifying effort from them, so we'll be looking for those guys to move forward as the race goes on.
Dalton Kellett, Chris Miller will make up row number 9, the 5 car. Miller in the 85 will start on the outside. Back to the 10th row, Luigi Biancardi and R.C. Anderson will start 20th in car number 10. And one of the true car young ladies in the sport, Shannon McIntosh, qualifying 21st. She will be shotgun on the field. So an interesting field of drivers getting set to saddle up. Our Todd Lewis earlier caught up with the evening's fast qualifier, young Matthew Brabham.
Matt Brabham, you've been pretty confident all day. You posted some incredible laps to win the pole position, and you just seemed like it was not a big deal at all, almost.
Oh, well, it looked a lot harder than it looked. It was a lot harder than it looked. You know, it really sucked going first. I mean, like, I saw a few guys going before me, and they were moving around a lot. And when I went out there, my car was handling, fantastic, and it was pretty smooth. And I just basically, banked a few laps and just stayed within the limits and got it pretty much perfect. And then the waiting after is just absolutely killer. Like, if I had a chance, I would have definitely loved to have gone last and known everybody's time before I go out, because once you kind of like finish the lap and come back in and you're waiting for everybody to finish off, you're helpless to what they do, and it feels, that feeling is just so hard. So it's probably the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life, waiting, being on pole and waiting for everybody to go through. But luckily I made it through, and it was a huge sigh of relief at the end. But yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to be on pole. It's my goal.
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult parts of oval qualifying. You just nailed it. It's almost more nerve-wracking after you've done your run, if you've gone early, waiting to see if that time holds up.
All right, one lap till green. Let's get a quick word from Todd Lewis before we get going here tonight.
One of the most important things drivers are going to have to watch for, working their way through traffic. It'll only be a few laps before they start finding back markers. Working your way through this one will be the key.
Out of turn number 4, ready to go green here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Part of the night before the 500 program. We're glad to have you with us on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. And down into turn 1, Brabham takes the early lead by half a car length. Here comes Piggott in that yellow machine, though, on the bottom, trying to take it away from him.
Brabham had great momentum coming off of 4, and he's going to hold it all the way through 1 and 2 as Piggott slips into the second spot now, as we see some side-by-side action a little bit further down outside the top 5.
Roman Lagudi in third in the red car. Qualified third, sits third right now, and it'll be Brabham leading lap number 1. James, how about the symmetry? Matthew Brabham's grandfather, Sir Jack Brabham, first driver to take a rear-engine car to the Indy 500, almost 50 years ago now.
And now, never mind
immediately.
that. Big accident down in turn 1 and 2. Many cars involved. Certainly that's going to bring out a full course caution, but we even saw one car getting on top of, I believe it was Heeman Choi there. That was a bit of a scary accident, Rick.
Big tangle over at turn number 2 as we worked on lap number 2 tonight. This is a 30-minute timed event or 75 laps. We've got 8 or 9 cars tangled up over there at the entrance to the backstretch. So quickly a caution flag comes out. Got a couple of additional looks at this for you over between turns 1 and 2. I believe that's Heeman Choi who gets out of shape, James.
Yeah, look at the top of your screen now. You can see him. He starts to go sideways, and the cars behind him have nowhere to go. And what's so difficult about this situation is you see another car spinning further back as they jump on the brakes. You put the weight forward, the back end gets light, and you go around. Scary stuff there, but most ovals you try and run the bottom of the racetrack. Here at LORP, you've got to run up high, and accidents go up to the wall. So that's why you see this collection of cars all nose to tail up against the wall. They're already running up high. They're on the limit. When an accident happens in front of them, it's very difficult to slow down or adjust your trajectory.
It was Neil Alberico who got up on top of Heeman Choi's machine. Looks like everybody's okay. Driver surveying the damage now. Let's take another look at this at full speed here and see what happens to Choi. Wow, out of shape quickly.
See, the drivers have almost no time to react when you're running this close on the ovals at those speeds and something goes wrong. It is a split-second decision. As you saw, Shannon McIntosh actually threw the grass on the inside there. Great job to avoid the accident.
Colin Thompson out of his heavily damaged machine. Nose of the 1-800-THOMPSON.com car broken. Timmy Megenbeyer, no nose cone on that car. He's going to go back out on the racetrack right now. This could end up being a battle of attrition tonight as the caution is still displayed.
And it's important for Megenbeyer to get out ahead of the pace car and stay on the lead lap.
Let's hear from Todd.
Shelby, it's an early exit for you. Unfortunate as to what happened. Are you okay, and what was the view from your seat?
I'm fine. From what I saw, was just one car spun in front of me, and I tried to go low, and everybody else was to the inside of me, so I didn't have anywhere to go. Tried to slow the car down as much as possible. It didn't really slow down much, and then we all just got collected. But it was an incident of like one car just had a mishap, and then everybody else just freaked out, and then that's what made the problem so big, and that's why everybody else got caught up in it. So,
Unfortunately, that's the difficulty of racing on ovals, isn't it?
oh yeah, I mean it's definitely who's in the right place at the right time, and hopefully your luck's on your side. Unfortunately, it wasn't ours today, so hopefully it gets better the next time.
Of course, Shelby's famous mom, Reba McIntyre, and a driver who's doing a lot. He's racing in Grand Am, racing here as well, trying to acquire as much experience as possible. Now, part of the weekend here at Indianapolis, of course, the 500 coming up this weekend. Some of our drivers from the various Road to Indy series taking a lap at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And what a thrill it was for these kids to get to drive these cars around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, all 2.5 miles of the most famous racetrack in the world. I know it wasn't at the speed they would have liked, but still very cool nonetheless.
Some of the pre-race activities leading up to the Freedom 100 Indy Lights event, part of Indy 500 weekend, and that is the final step on the Mazda Road to Indy ladder before you get to IndyCar, where you reside and where a lot of these guys certainly want to go as well. Spencer Piggott, how much fun was this?
You know, it was only about 50, 60 miles an hour, but still, it was really cool to drive my car around the speedway. You know, there's still quite a few fans out there, so, you know, hopefully one day I'll be going about 200 miles an hour faster around there.
I was going to say, did it really give you a chance to get your imagination going about what it would be like to race there?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine going that fast. You know, those corners, they look so tight, even going so slow. So going so fast around there and keeping it flat out, you know, it's got to be a cool experience.
Spencer Piggott from Orlando, Florida, wants to be where you are.
I like what he said it's going to be, and then corrected himself, but he knows he can make it.
Matthew Brabham will be our restart leader when we come back. Back at Lucas Oil Raceway, just on the west side of Indianapolis, Indiana, the Mazda Motorsports Hour, covered through Cooper Tires, presents the USF2000 National Championship, powered by Mazda. Under caution, lap 2 incident over in turn 2. Heeman Choi spins. Neil Alberico gets up on top of Choi's car. Everybody okay. Another half dozen machines pile in, and that has resulted in a lengthy cleanup tonight here at Lucas Oil Raceway. One of the cars that will not be around for the restart, unfortunately, the 54 car. We saw that car go out on the hook a few moments ago. The Speedy Cat machine driven by Michael Johnson of Flint, Michigan. Michael Johnson, a wheelchair-bound racer, uses hand controls. Very interesting story. Our Todd Lewis caught up with the young man earlier in the weekend.
Michael, your story is a unique one in that you lost the use of your legs, yet you still compete at a high level of racing.
Yeah, this has been a really fun year, learning all the tricks for 4 wheels in a pro car like this USF2000, and working with team owner John Church, JDC Motorsports, has been helping a lot.
That's a word that you've also tried to spread recently, well, with a visit to our local hospital as well recently.
Yeah, yesterday morning I visited with the Indiana Rehab Institute, and it was really good to meet with people and tell them that it's possible. You can heal and get back out and do what you love in life, and really enjoy what you have.
What kind of questions did you get asked at this visit? Because I'm sure there were a lot of them.
I pretty much just got asked how I was hurt, how I dealt with it, and what changed my mind to start racing again after my accident, racing motorcycles. And it was mostly from my dad. He pushed me to get back going, and it was my mindset. I really wanted to race again. And
how rewarding is it for you?
It's very rewarding. I'm looking for that first win and then keep going from there.
It's incredible what he's doing. I mean, this is, you can see the hand controls. That's the throttle that he's pressing right there. So that's how he controls, obviously, the power plant in the back of the car. Not as much feel, and you're using your hand still to steer. Now he's got this additional challenge of using the throttle. He's got the steering column, as he'll display here, as he pushes forward. That actually is what puts the pressure through the braking system. So again, a very unique way. I've seen hand controls on race cars before. I've never seen a setup quite like this. And then this is the clutch. So, you know, when he gets going, he only needs the clutch to get rolling in first gear, and then he's free to use his hands for the wheel and the throttle. Very, very incredible story.
It is, and we're thrilled to have Michael Johnson in the series. I think he's a terrific addition. Wish him well. We're going to be watching his progress very closely as we go throughout this season. Hina Choi's machine going out on the hook. One of the cars damaged. First car to spin. Also on the card tonight, the Star Mazda Championship, part of our Mazda Road to Indy and our Mazda Motorsports Hour. Connor DeFilippi in the green and white two-car, your pole sitter, and everybody spent the night kind of chasing him. James, good battle here, though, for 9.
Yeah, the teammates here, but Jack Hawksworth not used to running this far down the order. A big learning curve for him on the ovals.
Hawksworth's been to victory lane on road courses already this season. DeFilippi, no problem this evening. Lapping cars seemingly at will as we take a look at the Replay XD onboard look here. Looking back, the battle most of the night, a couple of guys you know very well for second spot, and then this incident, Zach Meyer out of turn 2.
Yeah, one of the only cautions that you see the Andretti Autosport guys have to dodge around him there to avoid another accident. Tough break for Zach as we see he's on board. Just in dirty air, car starts to slide. Nothing you can do. Bit of a passenger at that point.
Turn 2, kind of a trouble area for some drivers in the series, in Star and in USF2000. Again, that battle for second, Zach Veach, Sage Karam, the 2 Andretti Autosport mates.
It was no problem for these guys. They started up front and ran up front. Sage had a couple looks at Conrad restarts, but really, they just did not have anything for the man.
It is Connor DeFilippi's night pretty much all night long. Qualifies first, leads wire to wire. He does have one trouble-filled moment.
Yeah, and certainly not without incident. A scary moment here as we see Ashley Freiberg get turned around and put into the wall right in front of him as he's putting them laps down. So scary moment, but he gets through unscathed. Very upset Ashley though, and well-founded.
Hands in the air before she even stops. That was Bruno Palle getting into the back end of Freiberg's machine. Connor DeFilippi wins the night before the 500 Star Mazda round. 2 straight here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
It's a hell of a record here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. It has to be said.
Caution flag still in the air. Field circulating behind the Mazda RX-8 safety car. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll come right back with more of the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway on the west side of Indianapolis. The Mazda Motorsports Hour focusing tonight on the USF2000 Championship powered by Mazda, part of the Mazda Road to Indy. Going oval track racing for these young drivers represents and requires a change in mindset. Todd Lewis before the green talked to several contenders about what that means.
Spencer, talk a bit about the switch mentally that you have to go through, going from left and right turns on road course tracks to just the left turns here at the oval.
Yeah, well, obviously it's a lot different. It's a lot harder than it looks, I think. You know, it's one of the toughest things you have to do as a driver to be fast on an oval. It's so technically important to get the car right, and you know, yeah, like you said, the mental aspect of just going so fast. Here at the Lucas Oil Raceway, we go really close to the wall is the line, so you know, going so fast right close to the wall and being really consistent is key. So you know, just making sure you're keeping your focus, because just one little mistake and you know, it could end your day.
Oh, it's completely different. It's so different to anything else. It's kind of, you know, more fun than anything else I've done so far. It's so challenging, and everything's completely different. So it's a big learning curve for me, and learning the setups and everything as well. Like it's so much fun out there though, because it's such a new experience, and like I kind of looked in from the outside and, you know, had a bit of a bad perception on oval racing. I thought it was all easy, and my dad was telling me otherwise, but I didn't really listen to him. But yeah, now that I've driven it myself, it's just lots of fun, and everything happens so much more quickly, and you have to be on your toes and concentrate so much harder than a road course. So I'm really enjoying it, and everything's been going really well so far.
And James, that's part of the growth process, I think, for a young driver to kind of sort that mentality out.
Yeah, it really is, and I can certainly relate to Matthew, because for a long time, I only got into oval racing in 2009, and from the outside, yeah, you don't appreciate what all's involved, how difficult the driving is, how difficult getting the feel and getting the setup right is. It really is one of these things where, I mean, you have to do it, and the skill set from road racing does not translate directly to oval racing, so figuring that out is a very big part of the learning curve.
Matthew Brabham, Spencer Piggott will line up first and second on the restart. Roman Lagudi will line up in third. And if you're in this situation, young driver, maybe not familiar, some making their first oval track starts here tonight, this long caution period, does it help you settle down, or does it give you too much to think about?
I think it gives you too much time. The worst thing you can give a racing driver is time to think. We're reactionary people. We need to just get on with the job. So I think it's best for these kids to get to green flag racing and get that experience. They're not learning anything driving around under caution.
Only 21 cars and drivers made the field to start this event tonight. We've lost half a dozen or so, so that'll trim things down in terms of traffic. And remember, we're under 30-minute time limit or a 75-lap distance here tonight, so some of these guys may be thinking, I'm not going to have many laps to get the job done.
And that does change your strategy, because at this track, tire conservation can certainly be an issue. And now with this long, lengthy caution, it's going to be a flat-out sprint to the finish.
Heading down into turn 3, we'll see if this is going to be the lap in which the drivers will get the 1-to-go sign here at Lucas Oil Raceway. More than 6/10 of a mile around this place. Now, James, you'll run at Iowa Speedway, 7/8 of a mile. That's coming up later in the season. IndyCar has run at Richmond, which is 3/4 of a mile. This track, kind of in that same mold, not quite as long around here, but still a place where these cars achieve some pretty high speeds.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, because we spoke about the high line that you have to take, it's a greater distance, but you carry a greater speed. And that freeing your hands up, keeping your hands a little bit more open, really allows these cars to wind up and get going at a pretty good clip around here.
Luca Forgeois will restart 5th. Matt DeLeo will line up 6th. McGregor in 7th. R.C. Anderson moving all the way up to 8th as the safety car heads for pit road. Biancardi and Wolf, the rest of the top 10. So we're ready to go green this time around here at Lucas Oil Raceway. We'll see what Matthew Brabham can do to keep Spencer Pigot behind him.
And Pigot is glued to his gearbox. He knows this is his best opportunity as Brabham drops the hammer. He drops low to try and get a good run off at turn 4. Full acceleration now. A good start, a little bit of too wide further back, but it is Brabham into turn 1, and Pigot goes low.
Putting lap number 20 on the board, Spencer Pigot says, hey, now's my opportunity, and he goes to the point on the backstretch, restarts on an oval. Is that still the best place to pass? Oh, and here comes Brabham right back.
They're fighting back. This is classic oval racing. The preferred line is up high, but if you can make your car work down low, you can make passes here side by side out of turn 4 across the stripe. Pigot's going to lead the lap, and he has the preferred line, but Brabham is holding on down low. Excellent stuff from both these guys.
Of course, at this place, more maybe unlike any other oval track that you will see anywhere in the country, the tendency, the temptation is to try to dive bomb. It's not the best way around.
No, it's not. You've really got to be cautious about how aggressively you turn in low, or else you're going to understeer right up the track and have to get out of the throttle. So Brabham, for his lack of experience on the ovals, is doing a great job keeping Pigot honest, even though Pigot really does have the better line right now. Again, side by side off at 2 inches apart. This is super close stuff. Look at that. And now Brabham's marginally ahead heading into turn 3.
Matthew Brabham trying to establish himself back into the lead and then close the door. The object here is to go up the racetrack and kind of close the door on the guy you're racing, right?
He is waiting right now for his spotter to yell clear. That's the magic word, and he just has not had it. Oh, a big sideways moment. Brabham catches it down low, and again, wheel to wheel. This is the 3rd consecutive lap. This is great stuff from both these young drivers.
Spencer Pigot in the yellow car up on the high side. That's the 2 car. He's won 3 in a row. Brabham won the season opener. They are fighting. These are teammates going at it.
And you can see Brabham usually enters a little bit ahead, but the higher momentum from the higher line that Pigot's got gets him ahead in the middle of the corner, and they sort of have this drag race down the straightaways every lap. Wheel to wheel heading into 3 now.
Brabham in the white car on the bottom, Pigot up on the high side in the yellow car. Of course, if this were the final lap, you'd want to be up high because you got that momentum driving to the stripe.
And you can see Pigot's crossing the line just a tiny bit in front of Brabham every lap. But I got to tell you, I'm super impressed that Brabham's been able to keep his car on the inside there. Oh, I may have spoke too soon. And he slips back into 2nd place. But look, he's probably going to pop out. There he goes, back down into 3.
He probably is here. Oh, and there's a lap car in the way, and that car does not balk Matthew Brabham too terribly, although he's got a good wiggle going. Pigot on the high side again.
I'll tell you what, with your car set up to run that high line, pinching it down low like that, I'm not surprised you're seeing this oversteer out of Brabham's car, but it is not scaring him at all, and they touch!
Get together! Pigot manages to keep it off the wall.
I cannot believe that there was no broken suspension in that.
Pigot did brush the wall with the right rear. We'll see if he white-walled that tire. Looks like it's okay. His Cooper tire up to the task on the right rear. There is some white on that tire.
Let's see a replay here. They come off. Brabham's had a moment going into 2. And oh, look at that. Unbelievable. It is not very often you touch wheels on an oval and it does not end in a big accident.
I don't think Pigot actually did touch the outside wall. The contact was on the inside. Here's another fight for position deeper in the field as Spencer Pigot now establishes about a 4-car length advantage over Matthew Brabham. This is from position as well down into the corner.
And again, trying to make it stick on the inside. This is where you have to make the passes, but it's just not the ideal line. And a great job from R.C. Anderson to be up battling in this position.
DeLeo in the 56 has the spot right now for 6th, but Anderson, who has not been a contender so far this season, seems to like this oval racing.
Yeah, he seems to be taking to it pretty well, and DeLeo's running very well. He's had a strong season. He's been very fast. Not, some races not going his way luck-wise, but he's doing a very solid job right here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park.
Matthew DeLeo in the green and white entry has the advantage over R.C. Anderson in this fight for 6th position. Back up front, meantime, still Spencer Pigot about 3 car lengths ahead of his teammate Brabham.
And I can't help but think that one of them maybe has some damage. I mean, maybe Brabham bent a toe link or something. Maybe he's not as confident in the car now that he knows he's had contact, because obviously they were side by side for about 5 straight laps there, and now they've strung out just a little bit, but still incredible that they managed to hold that together.
Given the contact, you'd have to think, now these are lightweight race cars. The suspension piece is not that stout. I mean, they're up to the task, but they're not that, you know, to sustain that kind of damage, you wouldn't think they'd be able to press on.
The only thing that impresses me more than the fact that the suspension didn't break is the fact that neither one of these teenagers lifted into turn 3 any more than they would have. They did not even acknowledge that there was contact. Neither one of them was going to give up, as we see Shannon McIntosh now pulling into pit lane.
In the True Car entry, she qualified 21st. Earlier this week, her sponsor, True Car, kicking off a major initiative aimed at putting more women in competitive rides in American motorsport.
Well, I think people understand, and if you're in racing, that you just can't figure this all out. You know, one season you may have a good one, you just not that easy. So I think the fact that Mazda is there for this whole path, they've created a path, and that's very hard to do in racing. And there's a commitment there, and they've got the commitment, and so now what they have to do is they're with good teams, they've got to get the experience. And they're going to have to run ovals, they're going to have to run road courses, and, you know, oval track, you've got to be able to do it all. And you've got to be able to be good at it. And I mean, like Shannon McIntosh came from oval track racing, and yet she's had to learn road racing. Ashley Freiberg came from road racing, and she's got to learn ovals. So this is a great way to do that without doing it at the very top level. When I know, because the Indy 500 was my first oval track race. That's not what I'd recommend for anybody. So this is a way for them to get that experience now and develop that sort of racecraft, so that when they get here, they're ready.
The True Car Initiative piggybacking, of course, on the Mazda Road to Indy, the USF2000 National Championship powered by Mazda. Step 1, then star, Indy Lights, and where you sit right now, James Hinchcliffe.
Absolutely, and this, again, Lindsay James touched on it. There's no program like this in the world, and what Mazda's done to be able to create this clear-cut path for young drivers is absolutely incredible.
About midway through our run here tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway, the Mazda Road to Indy, part of the Mazda Motorsports Hour of the USF2000 National Championship. Still Spencer Pigot leading the way. His teammate Matthew Brabham, they're 1-2 in the championship, and the gap about 3 car lengths now as we approach the midpoint of this one.
Yeah, the gap on the racetrack is about as close as the gap in the championship right now.
Exactly. So Roman Lagudi sits third, then it's Anderson and Hindman. We'll be back in Indianapolis. All right, welcome back on the Mazda Motorsports Hour of the USF2000 National Championship, powered by Mazda, part of the Night Before the 500 program. We're at Lucas Oil Raceway in Claremont, Indiana. Alongside James Hinchcliffe, I'm Rick Benjamin. Todd Lewis with our coverage on pit road. Action a little further back in the field for 8th. Thomas McGregor in the 7. Luigi Biancardi in the 15 car, nose to tail down into turn 1. Biancardi taking that look to the bottom, wants to pick up that position there. But again, you've got to really summon up your courage here at Lucas Oil Raceway. It's very tempting to want to go to the bottom. Hard place to close the deal. It's
very tough to run all the way at the bottom. You almost want to run as high as you can, but still be in clean air and get that clean air onto your front wing, over the whole car, and get the downforce. He's got a good run now off 4. He's not alongside him, but he's certainly a little bit inside him. You know that McGregor's spotter right now will be telling him there's a car on the inside, give him the room. And does not, I mean, again, he's just
close.
there. He's close. He's not quite there. But again, sometimes it takes 5, 6, 7 laps to set up and actually execute a pass on a small racetrack like this.
Biancardi trying to work the bottom here, and you've got to have enough drive off the corner to be able to close the deal. He may have him this time.
He's got a good run into 1 and 2, but again, that higher line's going to have the momentum on the back straight. So you can see McGregor, you can see him start edging his way forwards. Again, it's such an art form trying to pass on these short racetracks.
As we watch Spencer Pigot extending the lead almost a full straightaway now with 35 laps on the board here the night before the 500 program at Lucas Oil Raceway. One of the storylines we've heard from several drivers is the oval track lessons you're learning tonight here at Lucas Oil Raceway might be applicable in other situations. Here's our Mazda Momentum.
Here at this track, you know, we have to lift off the gas, so you know, it's quite difficult. You have to be very smooth with the inputs of your throttle and your steering, so you don't want to upset the car at all. So, you know, like a road course, you know, you can brake really hard, go back to throttle a little bit aggressively, turn harder. Here, it's the complete opposite. You have to be really smooth at everything.
When I first went out, I was kind of like driving it like a road race, and I was, you know, having big turns on the wheel, and I was really struggling. And you know, just you have to be so smooth in every input you put in. Like, it's, you know, hopefully now that I come out of an oval, I'll be more smooth on the road courses, because you know, there's such a large discipline of just making sure that turn the wheel as smoothly as you can, you get on the throttle as smoothly, and you brake as smooth. It's just, you know, like the road course, you kind of like come in, you smash the brake pedal, and yeah, so I'm just getting used to it all, but yeah, it's lots of fun.
Yeah, and Brabham sort of nails it there a little bit. And as I was touching on earlier, the skill set between road racing and oval racing is so different. But he really touched on a good point that a lot of drivers, once they get a feel for the ovals, can actually improve their driving on road courses by learning to be a little bit smoother, learning what the car can do at these kind of speeds as well.
And finding that balance between being smooth and being aggressive, that's a tough challenge.
Very tough, and it's even highlighted at a short track like this. The larger speedways, the 1.5 miles, the 2 miles, the 2.5 miles, you have to be very, very smooth. A lot of it is just very, very precise movements. Here, there is still an aggression element, places like this, places like Iowa, places like Milwaukee. So there is a very fine balance even within oval racing.
Of course, this season, IndyCar running, what, 5 ovals out of the 17 races? I believe that's correct.
Yeah, 5 ovals. We have, obviously, Indianapolis, then Texas, Milwaukee, Iowa, and then we finish the season off in Fontana.
Trent Hyndman running 5th in that 3 car, doing a very nice job here tonight. Hasn't been able to challenge for the lead yet, but at this point, keeping your nose clean and making laps out here can be very crucial for a young driver.
Absolutely. I mean, just finishing these races is going to help out in the championship position. You know, we saw what happened on that first lap. Somebody else's mistake you can get caught up in so easily on these oval tracks. So it's great for him to be just running there in the top 5 and having a good, clean run.
Watching Hyndman out of turn number 4 here tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway, back up in front. Leader Spencer Pigot lapping some of the slower traffic.
And this could be an opportunity for Brabham now. With all the yellow we had early, this is really the first time we've seen him getting into some traffic. And if he gets caught up, this could be a good opportunity for Brabham to try and close some ground and maybe make a move.
Pigot all by himself, has led twice, 17 laps out in front, took the lead away from Matthew Brabham with a great move. Brabham tried to come back earlier in the evening. The two tangled on the backstretch. Could have been a huge wreck back there that they were both able to stay off the wall and stay straight. An unbelievable story.
It was really incredible, yeah. And as Pigot works through traffic here, I love the graphic saying he's led twice. That just means, I mean, they were side by side the entire time. It's just one lap he was in front. The next lap, Brabham was back in front by feet, by inches. So it's not like there's 2 complete passes back and forth for the lead. This was literally the difference of a couple feet.
Yeah, it's been a great battle tonight. A lot of support for these young USF2000 drivers. Cooper Tires providing a good chunk of that. Their technical consultant, Johnny Unser, is here tonight. Todd Lewis caught up with him earlier.
Johnny, you've been involved with Cooper Tires, and Cooper Tires has been involved with the USF2000 series for quite some time. It really is a terrific driver development series to help drivers learn and master their craft.
That's really the enjoyable part for me, is working with these young kids, and I help them out a lot. And like tonight here, a lot of them are running their first oval, and you know, to get their feedback and the expressions and see how they enjoy it and watch them develop. And you know, we watch these kids go right through the ladder series, and some of them make it all the way to the top, and trying to pick the young kids out right now is pretty fun.
No, it's a tremendous amount of support that Cooper gives this program, and I had the opportunity to work with Cooper Tires a few years ago, and it's a great company that, again, just like Mazda, has put a lot of effort into supporting the junior categories and really help develop and help young talent flourish in the sport.
Battling for 9th and 10th here, Jason Wolf in the 23, Tipping Megenbeyer in the 17. Now remember, Megenbeyer on the inside lost his nose cone in that lap 2 wreck. This team did a lot of great work here to get him back on the racetrack.
Yeah, what they would have done is come in lap after lap to do a little bit of work on the car, but send him back out to stay on the lead lap, as we touched on. So great job from his team and from him. He kept his head in the game. Obviously, he's dealing with a slightly damaged race car, but they are about to go a lap down now, and this is a crucial part for Pigot. He's got to be patient here. He's got to be careful.
White flag waving over your leader, Spencer Pigot, out of turn 2. No need for him to gamble at this point. He just needs to stay off the wall.
Yeah, but he's still going to look down to the inside, thinks better of it, backs out of it. He's got the gap back to Brabham, so he does not need to be too aggressive, although looks on the outside as he comes to the checkered flag. Phenomenal victory for Spencer Pigot.
Unbelievable. Pigot takes the measure of Matthew Brabham, wins his 4th race in 5 starts in 2012. And Cooper Tires presents the USF2000 National Championship, powered by Mazda. We'll be back on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Raceway. Let's take a look at some of the highlights that got us where we finished tonight here in the night before the 500 program for the USF2000 Championship standouts. Front row, the Cape Motorsports teammates. Brabham in the white car, Pigot in the yellow 2 car. They were side by side a long time tonight, Jim.
They were. It was a clean start for them, but not so much in the middle of the field at the beginning of lap 2. Big wreck. Heeman Choi started it. A big chain reaction took out over half a dozen cars.
It was a tough one, put us under caution for a long time tonight, took several drivers out of contention. Piggott and Brabham would stage this incredible battle through the middle portions of the race.
The restart is what set it up, and Piggott made the move. Brabham did a phenomenal job to stay below him for so many laps, but ultimately it was Piggott who pulled off the pass and the win here at Lucas Oil Raceway.
Of course, the two survived a tangle over on the backside, and after the checkered flag, top three finishers coming to victory lane here. Brabham and Piggott congratulating each other. The part of this where teammates squabble and don't get along very well and fight for supremacy hasn't really hit these young guys yet, has it?
No, and it's great to see the kind of camaraderie, because two teammates working together are ultimately going to make the whole team better and each other better.
Cade Motorsports, of course, fielding these cars. Team Pelfrey, a big part of what Spencer Piggott has been able to do so far here tonight. Family thrilled, of course. Piggott from Orlando, Florida, bagging his 4th win of the season. Downstairs to Todd Lewis.
Good job.
There's some genuine enthusiasm and excitement from your family giving you congratulations. Spencer, talk about that move where you took the lead.
Oh man, we were so close. I knew it was going to be a close race, but I knew that was going to be my only chance because he's been super fast this whole weekend. We're under yellow for so long. Hopefully everyone made it out all right of that crash. But man, I'm so excited. I can't thank the guys at Cade Motorsports enough. Team Pelfrey, Market, everyone that's helping me.
Can you believe this roll you're on? That's 4 straight wins.
I know, I can't believe it, man. I wanted to win this race here in Indy so bad, so it's been a great season so far, and hopefully we'll be able to carry on like this.
Think you can make it 5?
I'm going to try.
USF2000 season, of course, will continue through the summer months. We'll have more coverage of this great series, of course, as the season wears on here on the Mazda Motorsports Hour. Matthew Brabham's got to be getting a little tired of finishing second. Here's Todd.
Matt Brabham, I know you're disappointed. You wanted the victory. This was your first oval track, and you wanted the victory.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was definitely going out for the victory. I mean, it's a bit disappointing. I'm very disheartened, but I had a lot of fun in my first race. Despite coming second once again, I think I'm still got a chance to stick it to him for the rest of the season. Hopefully, he can get back the points lead soon, and hopefully, it's a good season from here on out.
Tough way to learn some lessons, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there was we hit, and the rest of the race, the steering was out a little bit, but yeah, it was good. Everything turned out all right. So I managed to finish at points, which is good as well. So.
Matthew Brabham obviously disappointed, able to muster a smile, but there's more to the emotion than that, I'm sure.
But definitely a lot learned here. And you can see, I love seeing Spencer Piggott. I mean, his goal is to win the Indy 500, and winning here the night before the 500 certainly meant an awful lot to him, and that's cool to see.
Trent Heineman wraps up the top 5 minutes. Bourgeois and Anderson, we show you the second 10, all the way down to J.R. Smart, who gets credit for 21st. The bottom 6 or 7 drivers, bottom 8 drivers, taken out in that lap 2 incident. Luigi Biancardi gets credit for 11th. McGregor, Shannon McIntosh, who was out before the checkered flag as well. Let's meet the 3rd driver in our finishing order.
3rd place finisher, Roman Lagudi. I know you were giving it all you had, but those guys up front were pretty tough to chase down.
Yeah, I mean, all weekend those guys have been quick, and we've been chasing them all weekend. But unfortunately, we couldn't catch them in the race. But a 3rd place finish, we're happy. I'm starting to talk to you a lot, and I'm starting to like it. So I can't complain. I'm gonna give it to my team, Bilardi Auto Racing, and another podium finish.
You said your team was pretty well prepared this morning when we talked. That you had a strong car, and you felt you could have a good finish.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know. I knew it was going to be a top 3 car. I just didn't know whereabouts, but 3rd place, we're happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Roman Lagudi, again, another driver who's probably not thrilled, but happy to be on the podium.
One of the big things is to know when you have a 3rd place car, not overdrive it, make a mistake, and actually put yourself out of the race. So very mature drive from him.
5 rounds into the championship, Piggott is on top, Brabham 2nd, then Lagudi, McGregor, and Matt DeLeo, Anderson and Trent Heineman, Timmy Megenbeyer also in the top 10 there. But for Spencer Piggott, a lot of congratulations from some of the key Mazda Motorsports officials, John Doonan, Jim Jordan down there, Dan Anderson, who oversees the series. This is a young driver who's got a great future.
He certainly does. What I love about Piggott is he actually finished 2nd in the championship last year. A lot of drivers would have said that was enough to move up to Star Mazda. He decided to come back, get the experience, really go for that championship, and climb the road to Indy ladder properly.
That'll do it for our coverage tonight from Lucas Oil Raceway. For James Hinchcliffe and Todd Lewis, I'm Rick Benjamin, congratulating our winner, Spencer Piggott. We'll talk to you next time on the Mazda Motorsports Hour.